All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Hi guys, Gillian Leivers here, just checking in with you. You all know me, the man fighting the grave miscarriage of justice.
Don't flinch. We're pulling the curtain back on the injustice on the Greenfeeds case, where verdicts were handed down, but justice was not served. So buckle up. This isn't just a broadcast, it's a reckoning. This is a case of a grievous injustice, and we want to understand how things went so wrong. Listen in every Saturday between 12 and 2 p.m. and hear how the story unfolds. You'll be blown away by its content. Only on Dreamcatcher Radio.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
Okay, we are back for episode number 23 in relation to the Greenfeeds case. And I'm really, again, I've already said this once before, but I'm looking forward to this because these are three experienced drivers that have come forward. I know we've had Glenn and Andy on before. We've also got Lee come on this episode to discuss the interview in relation to Richard Draycott and Steve Hunt. They've all been following the series. Lee contacted me and said this series gives him sleepless nights, and he's got a very invested interest in terms of he really wants to understand how things went so wrong. And if anybody could remember back to my initial introduction to all our shows, is how did things go so wrong? And so Lee's joining us today for the first time on Dreamcatcher Radio, so I'm very grateful. I had an interesting call today from a gentleman called Rupert. And
Rupert?
Yeah, Rupert, yeah. He actually talks like a Rupert as well, if you can imagine. And talking about that, he's been following the series from episode number 1 to today. And he was fascinated by the interview with Richard Draycott and Steve Hunt. And he made some very, very interesting observations, which is pretty much what we've covered anyway. But, and I hate to say this, and I don't want this to be the prelude, or it's going to be the prelude, I imagine. His issue is what happened during the time the tanker was in the mixing shed for all that time. And he also mentioned, which I didn't know, that the tanker was in the mixing shed for a long period of time. But also he mentioned, which was my question, which I managed to get put forward to Richard Draycott, is opening the valve. Now, he is a health and safety. He used to work for the HSE, he told me. And he questions that an experienced driver, that would be the first thing that you think about. And we're gonna talk about this, but I spent about 20 minutes on the phone to him today, and he said he's going to come on to the radio in the near future, but I just thought it was really fascinating. So anyway, so today we've got Glenn, Andy, Lee, and Phil, who is part of the furniture now. Good afternoon, everybody. Albeit it's evening time where you guys are parked up all over the country, or I don't know if you're in Europe or what, I don't know. So good evening, guys.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay.
Good evening.
So what I'd like to try and deal with first, Andy, is come to you. is talk about this photo. I really want to get to the bottom of the truth. What is the truth?
The truth is what I told you. It was
Right.
taken on the farm where I used to work, and that's what it was. But like me and Lee discussed the other day, right? And I'll let Lee explain it to you now. How it's so easy to change it.
What, as in Photoshop and stuff like that?
Yeah, dates, times.
Yeah. So so what you're saying in no uncertain terms, that photo is the one that you said was taken 18 months earlier.
That photo is nothing to do with Greenfeeds. Yeah. And I will stand in court and tell him that.
Okay. And why do you think they've produced this as evidence? Just out of interest, without the obvious, I guess. I don't know.
Steve mentioned Lee Marshall. Now, I always class Lee as a friend.
Yeah.
Until he did something that he shouldn't have done, and he got caught out. That's by the by. What he said, and I've still got the recording now, was I make him physically sick.
Mm.
But the only reason he keeps talking to me, and he has me on social media or anything, is so he can run back to my ex.
Mm. I listened to the recording you sent me.
Yeah, I sent it to you.
Yeah, I listened to that. He has a grievance with you.
Yeah.
So do you
but
think?
I don't know. This is what I don't know why though, Brad. Because I've never done him wrong.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And do you think that these Steve Hunt's jumped on the bandwagon following Lee Marshall's grievance?
Yeah, because if you listen to what he said, he gave Lee's permission to show you the photo, but then the rest of the interview, it's his photo.
Mm. Yeah.
I think it's safe to assume that they produced that photograph to prove that people went inside tankers. I think that's all it was about, really.
I mean, I've got an app on my phone. I could go on there now, put his head out, and put it on my head, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
I appreciate that.
AI is amazing.
Yeah, I appreciate that. The thing is, though, it was used as evidence to convict a woman in a Crown Court case, and she's gone to prison for 13 years.
Like I said the other day, why wasn't I allowed to go to court? And give my character witness statement or anything. I was told that I'm not needed.
Did you actually give a statement then? Did you?
I gave a character statement. Like, they asked me what Ian and Gillian would like to work for. What did you do?
And they chose not to use that.
I've read the statement that they've got, and it's not the statement that I gave them.
Oh, God.
You're not the first person.
It's completely different. But if you look, all the people's statements that were changed never went to court.
We had Tim Walker's statement.
Yeah, exactly what I was about to say. Tim Walker. His statement was changed as well.
Yeah, but he never went to court, did he?
No. All right. Okay. So basically, you're adamant that's the photo taken 18 months before.
1,000,000%.
And it wasn't by Lee.
The only photo that they will probably have was when I was in the vacuum tanker, like I've told you before.
Mm.
When we put the vacuum tanker on the road and I cleaned it out through the back door. And like Glenn will know, a vacuum tanker has a massive door on the back that opens.
Yeah, the whole of the back end opens out.
Yeah, the whole back end opens up.
Yeah. Not garden at all.
Glenn does that as well. Okay, let's just talk about your guys' experience. Let's just do one by one. So let's go. I mean, Glenn and obviously Andy's been on before, but perhaps we can just remind listeners about your guys' experience, about what we're going to talk about shortly. So, Glenn, can we start with you? Your experience in tanker driving and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I've been driving tankers, liquid tankers, vacuum tankers for the last 10 years. I had a break during COVID where I went and worked for Ian. But yeah, I've got tons of experience on tankers, class ones. And listening to that last week, it was laughable listening to what was coming out of Mr. Draycott's mouth and Steve Hunt's. It really was.
Yeah, I mean, it would be laughable if it was not so serious, but I get what you're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
And
it was the Steve Hunt show they wanted. Let's face it.
Was
All he wanted was his fucking 5 minutes of fame, sort of thing. You know what I mean?
And
yeah,
Andy, your experience?
Where do I start? I've worked for Ian on the tankers, the skips. I'm a European driver now. I'm driving for about probably 18 years, 17, 18 years. Class one. Deliver high-end cars around Europe now. I've done heavy recovery, light recovery. I've done a bit of everything, to be fair.
And I remember your dad used to work for Ian, didn't he?
My dad worked for Ian. I can't remember how long my dad did work there. I'm pretty sure it was 5 or 6 years. It was a long time.
Yeah.
Because he worked alongside Colin and Sam Pep.
Am I correct in my memory that Ian sacked you?
Ian did sack me, yes.
Right, okay.
Through a phone call when he was on holiday.
Yeah.
What Ian didn't realise was he believed Dean when Dean rang him up. He didn't get the full story or anything like that. He just believed Dean and rang me up and said, "That's it, done."
So the point being, what people will say in this episode is that effectively you're all basically activists for Ian, but you got sacked by him.
I don't have to back him or Gillian or anybody, you know, but it's not them to blame.
Oh.
Yes, it's Ian's company. Yes, Gillian was there. She lived on fucking site. Do you know what I mean? She was there every morning.
Yeah. Okay. Lee, if you can talk a bit about your experience.
Yeah, so I left school in 2002. I did an apprenticeship with a bus company to be a heavy vehicle mechanic. I moved on from there and I went and worked for a local Scania dealer called Kel Truck. Up until the years of about 2011, sort of got a bit annoyed with keep being in one place, wanted to get out on the road, but didn't want to fully leave the motor trade. So I got into recovery, and I've been in that ever since. Mainly specialising in heavy recovery, although I've done a bit of lights but yeah, the art lies with the heavy recovery. And in that time I've been in recovery, I've worked for 3 recovery companies, 2 of them serving police contracts, which deal with fatal accidents and serious injury. And what drew me to this case was what didn't happen. So we could say I'm an activist for Ian. I'm actually an activist for what's right. And I don't believe anything is right in this case. So that's what's drawn me to it. With obviously my knowledge and what happens with serious injury and fatal incidents involving vehicles. None of that was carried out with this. Hence, like I just said, this is what drew me to it. And what a rabbit hole I've gone down.
Yeah, I feel for you, mate. I feel for you because I'm the same. And it's just funny enough, how I met Phil, who's here today. He couldn't really understand much about this case in terms of how initially he was adversarial towards Ian and his propositions about what he was saying. And then,
to be fair, I think a lot of people was like that from the start. They wanted that, to be fair.
Well, I mean, he's quite a colourful character, in all fairness. I mean, some of his social media makes me cringe, but he knows that. But that's down to him. But what we do know is certain facts, and he's very knowledgeable about the business and also in terms of the day-to-day operations of the business, and that can never be contested whatsoever.
It's like you said, he built it from the early 90s, didn't he? You know,
Yes, yeah.
He built it from nothing, and it was a big job in the end. You know, when it was run from Reneth, from his house and the little pig yard at the back, he had the garage converted to the office. You know, and it was all run from there. And then he got the place at Bennington, a bigger place, and they used to run the two together. That was when my dad worked there.
Yeah, I think it, by all accounts, it was a small, successful business.
Can I interject, Brad? I had about being an activist for Ian. I left Ian and Gillian under a bit of a cloud. I totally cut myself off from them. Not for anything that Ian and Gillian did. I just left. And when I found out, when I heard through the obviously media what had happened, Ian blanked me at first. I was reaching out to him. I felt desperately that he needed some support. So I'm doing this to right a wrong. What's happened to Gillian and Ian is absolutely shocking.
It is.
Yeah, I agree.
I actually went to see him when he was in prison, and you know, the first thing he did was stand up, shook my hand, and he said, "I totally apologise for what happened, for sacking you, and I got it all wrong, but I don't hold a grudge about it."
No.
But if you think about it logically, if it wasn't for Ian going on social media and continuing his protest, and it must be, labor intensive to constantly think about this. He goes to meet Gillian every week. The people like yourselves wouldn't come forward if it wasn't for him, almost shouting from the rooftops.
Everybody can see, Brad, that there's a wrong, and the wrong is what they've done, what everybody's done to them.
Massive wrong, massive.
Yeah.
And last week that just proved it.
Okay, Phil, have you got any questions before we move on to the episode?
I've got an observation. I mean, I like you say, I started and had a ding dong with Ian right at the very start. I think if we'd been in the same room, we'd have probably ended up fighting. But it was obvious to me straight away when I heard that Gillian had got literally 13 years. I couldn't believe that at all. He got 20 months, she got 13 years. I just did not read right at all. So straight away, I was hooked. As we got into the case and unpeeled the onion, like all of us, we've all gone down the same rabbit hole. We're all at the bottom of the same rabbit hole. It seems to me that they've wheeled out just about everything they possibly could to rubbish Ian's character. Whether he's unable to keep pigs, or whether he's unable to guard machines, or unable to look after his people.
The trouble is, I felt like all these people that have said this all used to work for him.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
If it was that bad, why did they stay there so long?
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
Well, an awful streak of jealousy. Really do. Awful streak.
And as I've said before, you wouldn't go to the 40 Thieves for a character reference for Alibaba, would you?
Yeah, good point.
They're all going to say, he's great, but quite the opposite here. And they've wheeled people out from the distant past, Robin Neve to be one that sticks in my craw, basically. He wasn't even with the company when this thing happened, yet there he is, centre stage, main prosecution witness. Where do they find all these people? There's only one way to find them.
I think a lot of it is like they've all got together down the pub or something and spoke about it, and then said, right, you go and make that statement, I'll go and make this statement, and they've all fucked it up because none of them matches.
I'm not too sure if you're aware they had an epiphany. Phil can explain that.
Yeah, they did have an epiphany. Sort of immediately after the incident, nobody actually mentioned Gillian Leivers at all in their statements. It was something like 9 months later when she started to creep out into their statements.
Wow.
They suddenly had an epiphany, and it was like, oh yeah, well, I remember now. Yeah, it was Gillian that said this, and it was Gillian that said that. And they were so desperate.
Didn't a couple of them change their statements?
Yeah,
Didn't they
absolutely.
go and change the statement?
Changed the statement.
Why would you go and change your fucking statement? You know, if you make a statement, that's what you believe
How was
is
it
right from day one.
legal? I just don't get how it's legal.
I don't either. If I was taking a statement from any of you lot, I'd take a statement, detailed statement. Gillian,
you signed it?
I can imagine you doing that, actually, to be fair. I can imagine you doing. You're that sort of person. You're like.
Gillian made 4 statements. 4. Why did you have to make 4 statements? It's because they have to keep going back. And I think we said this before. The CPS, the Crown Prosecution Service, will only prosecute cases where they're sure of getting a conviction. And if they haven't got the right evidence to get a conviction, they'll go back to the old bill and go, no, we're not taking that to court because there's not enough evidence.
All they needed was 4 or 5 people to say the same thing or mention her. And
yeah, exactly that.
So the likes of me, Tim, and whoever else didn't go to court, but made that character statement.
Yeah,
you know, you're not needed because you won't mention a name.
Well, it could be you're not needed because you're going to mess up our narrative.
Exactly that.
Well, that's what Jake pointed out. Like he was sort of on call for the trial. You know, he was putting off work, and then like, yeah, you're not needed today. Then he did have a phone call, if I remember rightly, and they thought he was going to be a
prosecution witness.
Yeah, like against it. Yeah, against really, wasn't it?
Didn't realise he would be a defence.
No. I think he said, Lee. I think he said he went. He scheduled work 4 or 5 times, probably 4.
Yeah.
Was it more, Phil? Was it?
Yeah.
6?
Yeah, it was. Do you know
I
the
took,
thing
I
really
took 2 weeks off.
off?
I took 2 weeks off, and then get told that you don't need to come because you're not needed.
Yeah, it's crap. Though,
because your statement, what you've said matches everybody else's basically.
Yeah,
It does, when I've read it, it doesn't though, does it?
No. I mean, I've got all kinds of files here that Gillian has sent me to read through. I've not got through them all yet, but one of the folders is entitled something like "Evidence Not Used."
Wow!
I think, well, what the bloody hell's that? What is evidence?
I'd have opened that up straight away. I'd be like, oh, nosy.
But there is such a thing as unused material, Phil.
Yeah.
Well, why?
Because it won't prosecute. It doesn't get the conviction, does it?
That's common to have unused material.
Why?
So in court proceedings, it's what they don't seek to rely on for prosecution.
It's odd that the prosecution and the defence teams shared the same office. So,
yeah,
that's odd. It's a coincidence.
Didn't realise that.
Yeah, it's a true story.
Okay, let's carry on this first segment then with your observations. Don't talk about the episode of last week. Just talk about your observations and your comments for the moment, because I'm enjoying it because it's really interesting.
We've filed the photograph then, haven't we? We've nailed that. It's basically not what they're saying it is.
I'll invite him to come to court and fucking say, that is you, and that is that.
Yeah,
but then
so we've nailed that. We can file that. Yeah, okay. I sent you a message for the group, and I said the vehicle disappears for an hour.
Yeah,
he comes onto
site.
Is it
an hour?
Yeah,
he's come onto site. He's gone up to the office, and he said, "It's this. They've got 6 ton left on. It's set like concrete." And whatever was said, go down, reverse in the shed, bloody wash it out, throw operatives inside the tank, whatever they said.
Phil, any chance can we leave that to next? I just want to hear the observations that they've made today.
That was in full flow then, Brad.
I know you were. I apologise. I know. But I think this is really important because he denied saying that. And I just want to hear what they say.
Go on then.
But, so to get to the mixing shed door at the front where he backed in, you would have to go off the weighbridge, round the back, past where you'd load the tanker, all the way to the end and round. That's
An
the only
hour.
way you can get there. It don't take a fucking hour to drive around there.
No, it doesn't. Anyway, Brad, go on, mate.
Yeah. So what I'd like in snapshot sort of things, ignore the Richard Draycott thing at the moment.
Yep.
And we'll park what Phil just said. I just want to understand your observations, what you've learned over the series, and any comments that you could possibly say. And that's a question for all of you, if possible, because we talked about many different things in the series, and from management, from the staffing, all this sort of stuff. PPE was a big one, which both Richard Draycott and Steve Hunt basically said PPE was very hard to get by. Ian's proposition is actually it was a free for all for PPE. Look,
at the end of the day, Brad, everybody will wear their own boots.
I don't want to lead you guys down a path, but
no.
I just want to see any observations you've got outside of what I want to talk about next.
Anybody that knows, you don't use you wouldn't wear company boots because they're going to be cheap, nasty. So you go and buy your own boots, right? I used to buy my own boots. I used to put the receipt in, and I got the money back.
Buy my own boots now as well. Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
I'll still do the same now. That's just like common practice amongst drivers.
Buy your own boots and just get it back.
You've got to be you want to be comfy, don't you?
Yeah.
You don't want something that's going to.
We've all got different preferences, and it's no good them supplying. No. I mean, they are to supply them, but they're generally a mid-range across.
But let's face it, as a driver, what do you need other than a hard hat, high vis, and a pair of boots?
Yeah, and some gloves.
And a pair of gloves.
Right.
And if you've got fat fingers like me, you're lucky to get a pair of gloves that fit.
Did you get that at Greenfield?
I got a hard hat, high vis, uniform, and I got a driver's handbook as well. Okay. Point that out.
So you had that, yeah? What about
everything from day one?
Mobile?
Didn't get mobile, no.
Okay. Okay. And have you got any observations? We've got about 7 minutes left on this segment. Have you got any other observations that you guys have learned during this series?
Oh God, where do you start? I've got so many observations.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ben.
Draycott's negating any responsibility as an HGV driver because he's not taking any responsibility for what happened that day, climbing on his tank.
Glenn, you hit the nail on the head the other day, didn't you? And you put that card in that taco head, you're responsible for everything.
It's drilled into you when you're on your lessons. You are responsible for this vehicle.
It's a CPC course.
It's drilled into
you on that.
Yeah, you go to 35 hours every 5 years on the CPC course. And health and safety is drilled into you. That's the main thing you do.
No accountability from Mr. Draycott at all. And it's just shocking.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to talk about that next, actually. In terms of this is a very difficult one, and please be honest. How do you feel about what Ian's presented today on the radio station on behalf of himself and also Gillian Leivers? How do you feel it comes across?
I'll be honest with you, I only listened to about 20 minutes of it or 10 minutes of it, whatever it was. I never finished listening to it, or to be fair. I don't know if you've listened to it going, oh, Lee.
Yeah, I've listened to it, and all I hear from Ian is, it just seems true. It just seems true facts. He don't ever seem to slip up in what he's saying, and he seems to, even behind the scenes, he backs up in what he's saying. Between me and others. And yeah, he's a strong character, and I'm glad he's come out of this, because I believe the intention was he'd be smashed to pieces. And lucky for him, and lucky for the rest of us, really, because life can't go on like this. He's building himself back up, and he's raising, and he needs to, but otherwise Gillian is going to stay where she is. Quite proud of him, if I'm honest. It's like you say. Yeah, I agree with some of the social media stuff, but again, if the truth isn't going to be told, that leaves it wide open for accusations and assumptions, and that's why it does go that deep. With some of the things he says, he don't know exactly what happened that day, but what he does know is there's something missing, and people ain't telling the truth.
The one person that does know what happened that day is Richard. Richard,
definitely.
Yeah, I've listened to it, and
what I can't understand is how somebody goes from holding onto a lid, and he's trying to pull him out the top, to being in the back of the tanker through the baffle plate.
Yeah, we're discussing.
I used to run that tanker, right? 6 ton in that tanker would be about the height of your welly, which is nowhere near that middle hole. And if he was going through the bottom hole, you'd have to chop him up first, no matter how small you are.
When you mentioned, just for the sake of the audience, because they may get confused, Andy, you've only listened to 20 minutes. What you meant is you only listened to 20 minutes of an episode, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, fine. Glenn,
I've listened to the episode, and whatever you can say about Ian and whatever he puts on social media, one thing about Ian is he does not tell lies.
Yeah.
Whether it's good, bad, or ugly, he does not tell lies, and he's genuine in everything he's saying.
Yeah, my impression, I'll happily say this, is that he's a very staunch character, and he make people feel uncomfortable and that sort of stuff. But he comes across as basically someone's very honest.
He is.
And he, as I think Lee said, he's been consistent. And to be able to do that is very difficult if you're telling lies.
Yeah.
You forget.
Yeah.
Got no reason to lie, though, has he? You know what I mean? The lies are there already, and everybody can bloody see it.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Like, after a certain episode, like, all these people have started coming out of the woodwork again and commenting all on Facebook posts and things like that. I think you've had a couple of messages, haven't you, Lee? And all replies.
Yeah, I've had some messages. Obviously, it's getting a bit obvious that I am standing strong with Ian. And like I said a minute ago, it's not. I didn't know Ian before, and obviously, Andy, I didn't even know you worked there. I'm standing up for what I know is right, and this is wrong, and that's just the way I was raised. And I've sort of gained a bit of a friend along the way, being Ian. That's just how it is. But like I say, this got nothing to do with me liking him or anything. What's right's right, what's wrong's wrong, and this is wrong.
Yeah,
that's brilliant. That is. So you never knew Ian before this.
He never knew that I worked there.
And I never knew.
I commented on the post one day, or when Ian put a post on, and he tagged me in it, of a picture of my job, and then Lee messaged me. He said, "Did you used to work there?"
I'd bought the book, read the book. I'd seen all the videos of Ian. Any time I'd come home, I'd probably be on, because he had another TikTok account and it got hacked. So there's a lot of stuff that isn't out there that's still missing now. And I've invested a lot of time in it, and then it come up. You work there, Andy.
Wow, there's a lot that's happened. Like with Robert Jenrick and what have you, you could go down even a deeper hole. In 2023, Robert Jenrick has been awful to Ian. God, it's really good that people like you have got
Ian's got the backing of a lot of people all over the bloody country. All of them. He's got people in America, I'm assuming, I think, as well. I've heard him say.
We're going to have to go to a break, guys. We're going to have to go to a break. Can one of you give us a song?
I'm having the last song, so you have this one too. You can have this
Anybody?
one. I'm having the last one.
Any other guys have got a song?
Yeah, I'll have
Oh.
one. Michael Jackson, They Don't Really Care About Us.
Brilliant. They don't really care about us.
Classic.
Let's play that now.
All I wanna say is that they don't really care about us. Don't worry, people say, we know the truth. All I wanna say is that they don't really care about us. Enough is enough of this garbage.
Skinhead, deadhead, everybody gone bad. Situation
Okay, we are back. I rudely interrupted Phil when he was in flow, as he rightly said. I wanted to just cover the first segment of the show, and we've got there. Phil, what were you saying?
Oh, I forget now, mate. No, I don't. I was saying that when they brought the load back with 6 tons on, I mean, checked into the office, I'm being instructed to go down to the shed. He duly did go down to the shed, but he said in his statement that he took it round the block. And in actual fact, on a timescale, the detectives that Ian employed found out that he disappeared for an hour. It was an hour before he reappeared, reversing the tanker into the shed. So the question is, what do you think he was doing for an hour?
Good point. And there's no block on that yard neither. It's just one big yard that you walk around.
You know, it don't take an hour to get around it.
And there was no cameras in the bit where he was.
No, there wasn't any cameras around the back where the loading bay was, or around the back of any of the buildings, really, on the back end there.
But he reckons the mixed cameras kept this, getting damaged.
The one in the mixing shed did, because it obviously it was like interrupting what they was doing, basically, I'd have thought.
Oh. Yeah.
Maybe he went for a walk around Bottisford. I mean, what's that?
I mean, he could have walked to Bottisford and back in an hour, yeah. He probably went home to fish and chips.
Yeah, he went to Co-op in Bottisford, I think. That's what he meant.
I've got a friend there.
So
it's interesting, though, isn't it? I mean, if there was something in that tanker, I mean, could he have been doing something to try and retrieve it himself?
See, this is like where that strap comes in as well again, isn't it? Like
he was still dry. And
I'm still adamant that strap was on the side of that tanker when he came in the yard.
Oh, really?
So you think?
Yeah.
You think they were trying to get it out on the weighbridge?
I think whatever it was tied to the end of it, or you know what I mean. Let's face it, right? Let's look at it like this, right? So, an emergency situation, you've got somebody that's in a tanker drowning, right? You've ran up the yard, you've seen your mate, you've come back. You've gone up the ladder, down the ladder, then you've gone to the cab to go and get a strap. In the meantime, you've had hold of him and let him go. And then he's floated into the back.
I've got a question. Why would you have a strap in a tanker?
You wouldn't. I don't have a strap.
Like you said, he did used to do curtain siders, and they did used to do the wood.
He did say that, didn't he? Yeah.
The bio wood or whatever it was. Which I do remember. It was like one trailer probably like once a month.
Yeah, but a strap though, Stig, a strap. Yeah. That doesn't, if you're thinking you got multiple pallets and that sort of stuff.
You've got a skip driver that's running around with a handful of straps, but don't even need them. Do you know what I mean? Tim Walker built them skips, put them electric easy solar panel sheets on them, everything. They were state of the art.
You bring up the name Tim Walker. Me and Ian had a meeting with Tim and a journalist from Newark Advertiser in 2023, October 2023. Tim Walker were there. And there was me, while we were waiting for the journalist, there was me, Ian, and Tim Walker. And Tim Walker said to Ian, in my earshot, that they were selling drugs. And Ian said, come on, please, go to the police for that evidence. And he wouldn't do it. He said that in my earshot. I heard that.
Yeah, it's the same as what Steve's saying. He's got a lot more evidence to give. Well, not being funny, if you've withheld evidence from a murder investigation or whatever, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think that's right either. That's not.
I think that's bullshit. To be fair.
Well,
the man is two-faced because he's sat on Ian's sofa having cups of tea with him one week and then turned on him.
Yeah.
All he was a boy to go and get the information. And because Ian wouldn't give him the information, he fell out with him.
And Steve Hunt says Nathan was like a son to him. And I tell you something, I would not be sending anybody.
I picked this up with Brad the other day when I messaged you, Brad, didn't I? The first time I came on the radio, Brad asked me, when you went with your dad, would your dad ever put you in danger?
Exactly.
So if
Well,
Nathan
bloody
looks up
family
to him
work
like a
for him,
dad,
isn't it?
you know, why should you let him do it?
If it's common knowledge that Ian and Gillian were sending lads into tankers, if Nathan was like a son, you would say you do not go in a tanker under any circumstances.
Yeah.
Because you just don't do it anyway. I go to tank washers every day.
We had the evidence of Mr. Hunt. I think he might have left at that time that the incident happened, and then he's then come back. Seen some evidence of him and his grandchildren at work. You know, if that was the kind of place, one, you wouldn't go back and work there, and for two, you wouldn't take your children or grandchildren there either.
Exactly.
When I used to go with my dad, I was probably about 8 or 9, probably a bit younger to be fair. You know, I used to go with him all the time.
Things were different back in the day. You know, that's what gets you into lorries and stuff, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, no, I wish you never did now.
A good point, that though.
It's all you know, though, isn't it? Once you're in it, you're in it. That's it.
Yeah, but the whole family worked for him, didn't they? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's 3 generations that I work out. Dad and grandson, by what I've worked out up to now, and granddaughter, I think.
Well, that's what I don't understand as well, Lee, is if it's such a dangerous place to work, unsafe environment, why would you allow your family to work?
Your grandson even.
Yeah, grandson.
And it's incorrect to go and work for somebody that's just caused the death of two young people. It's morally incorrect, you know.
You picked him up, Brad, on when he was explaining what happened, and he said that he came running out the shed after being in there 11 minutes. Came running out the shed and said to Gavin, "Nathan's in the tank."
Yeah,
Yeah. You rightly picked him up and said, "What?" You said that like it was a shock.
Yeah, it was. Like it was. There's one thing we got from this from this talk with Mr. Draycott and Mr. Hunt was that they actually said that wasn't a common occasion. Liquid still being in the tank, you know. So there's that, and I can't remember what the other point was, but it was actually and they're not saying it was every day that people went into tankers. Yeah,
if you read his statement that he gave, you know, it would be that no one ever went in a tanker.
Yeah, it was. Well, it was hearsay. It was hearsay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, he'd heard about it, and a lot of that interview was a lot of. Well, I was told, and I heard there was a lot of that in there. I'm sorry, that's no good. You need to see it with your own eyes before you make that statement.
Is somebody putting words in your mouth.
Correct.
It's a very clever way of doing it. But you don't realise they're doing it until they'll explain it to you in such a way that you'll then say it back in a different way, but it's the same thing.
Both Phil and I got the impression that Steve Hunt basically, I wouldn't say guided him on what to say, but during the interview, like we're here now,
spoke over him.
I can see you guys on the camera, and Richard Draycott leaned forward many times, and Steve would overtalk him without him saying a word. You wouldn't realise it on the radio.
I feel like to invite him in a couple of times. Like, you are free to speak. I'm sure Phil did. You did, didn't you, Phil?
Yeah.
Towards the end, I could see I could hear the change in Phil's voice. He was like, "No, I'm not having that."
If we're on the subject of a bit of like what we picked up on, like I'd like to ask the listeners and anybody who's involved, if you have listened to that interview, I mean you can get it on catch up with Dreamcatcher under the Just Ask section. Please listen to that again, and please take note of Mr. Draycott's speech. So what I picked up on, and I'm sure the listeners will, is that when he is explaining an event, the speech, the sentence flows, without any problem whatsoever. Yet when we go to the actual event, now, let's bear in mind it is a traumatic event, but there's certain things, and in that situation, would stick in your head forever. You know, I know it would mine. But yeah, I'm just asking people to listen to it again and just take note of around the, you know, Phil asked a few questions, Brad did, and the speech started to struggle.
I've got a question for you, Lee, and Phil, because obviously you've both been around that sort of thing before, same as I have. You know yourself. That's a crime scene, right?
Correct.
He's left his keys in his jacket pocket.
Yeah.
Regardless of if he goes, it's a crime scene. You wait there, I'll go and get the keys for you. But they have to clear that with Sergeant, do they not?
Yeah.
Well, another thing I want to say as well is like, you know, I didn't see, I heard the body cam footage, and it basically, you know, I think the PC's on the scene, so it might have been the sergeant that comes to the driveway, and it was something along the lines of.
It's very suspicious.
Well, I didn't hear suspicious circumstances.
Whatever it was. Yeah.
Yes,
along them lines.
I personally heard something along the lines of a TikTok account. We're not sure whether they should have been in there. And immediately, so bear in mind, this sergeant or police or whoever he is has turned up in his car. He hasn't even walked to the scene, and I know he hasn't because they need to get grave here, but they mentioned that the deceased is laid out down there. But yeah, before that bit's mentioned, it's like, this is a confined space incident and people will be held accountable. Now, I want to, you know, and if that sergeant is listening, I'd like to ask, you know, you hadn't walked to the scene and who you to decide that before going and doing an investigation.
Yeah,
like,
I do agree with you, Lee. I don't understand that either.
You know, you've not been down to the scene. It's unheard of. You know, and yeah, it's just beyond what I've been involved in these incidents. I've seen things. It don't work like that. You know.
What about the coroner then? I mean, the coroner said something to the effect that, I presume.
Yeah, we're locked up. Yeah.
I presume that they were overcome by gases. You know, and then drowned.
This is the thing, right? This gas thing, I don't get this, right? Because they've worked there. Dave and Mike have worked there for years, right? Mike's walked around that mixing shed, smoking, whatever, right? He's still alive. He didn't blow up, did he? Right?
No.
You know, I smoke. I've opened many tank lids with a fag in my mouth.
Yeah, not like it blow up. It's carbon dioxide, isn't it? It was carbon dioxide, not carbon monoxide.
Something that Glenn did, and it was a very helpful video. It talked about man down. Glenn,
yeah.
Glenn, are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about that video and your training in order to basically your understanding of what you should do in situations like you explained in that video.
Well, if that was me, if I was Draycott, firstly, I wouldn't allow anybody on top of my tank. But if he got on the top of the tank without me knowing it and he got in there, straight away, he mentioned panic. Yeah, you would panic, but you'd make the right decisions. You wouldn't dangle a strap.
There's a
he said that, right? But we all know, right? There's a different side to this story. He's saying that Nathan sat on the top of the tank and dropped in. Then he shouted him, right? That man's running up the yard to go and get help with his overalls round his ankles.
11 minutes.
11 minutes later, trying to pull him on, running up the yard, right?
No 999 phone call either.
No. You know, Lee, you wear overalls at work, don't you?
Yeah, I couldn't climb a ladder with them. I do have them round my waist in the summer, but like when I have to do an activity of any sort,
if you're in the truck, sat in the seat,
yeah, they come down so I don't get my seatbelt dirty. Yeah,
exactly.
So I personally don't believe he left his cab. If I'm honest, that's my take on it. I've seen it. I've seen the clip of the CCTV, and that ain't a man that's been up a ladder, been dangling in, trying to pull a ladder out. You know,
it's like you're saying, like, you know, we need to be on top of the ladder to watch the load going in, so we know how much we got in. All Ian's trucks had onboard weighers. built into the airbag system that was way through the airbag and the drive axle and the lift axle. So you would know when that gets to a certain number on the dash, you would know that's nearly full. You know, back in the days, there were sight glasses on the side of the tanks. You can get a lot of that on vacuum tankers still. Ian's old tankers used to have them on when my dad worked there.
See, the other thing as well, obviously Richard Draycott has lied, because you can tell by the CCTV evidence he's lied.
A lot.
Who said that?
A lot. Yeah, I've lied a lot.
Okay, who said that one? Sorry.
That was me, Stu.
Okay, why do you think he's lied a lot?
It's obvious. It's so obvious.
Well, okay, give.
Right, so if you followed this from day one, right, and you listen to his account that he gave last week, or you know what he said happened. I've read his statement, and I know you lot have.
Yeah,
it's not the same.
Yeah, in his statement, he says he threw the strap up to Curtis, but last week on the episode, he said he dangled the strap down so that the unconscious body would grab the strap.
Yeah.
And the unconscious body would pull itself out. Instead of opening the valve and just letting the product out.
This is a speech thing I want to pick up. I mentioned earlier, like around them events, it's important the listeners listen into it. And like you say, we've seen statements, and like you just said, Glenn,
they both said on last week's thing at the mixing shed, signal was really bad, right?
But if you moved, you could get it.
But
yeah.
Alex has got. I've listened to the recording, the emergency phone call, right? Alex has stood at the mixing shed with the phone.
Oh, there you go.
Talking to him, and you can hear him crystal clear. In fact, you can hear it that crystal clear. You can hear Dave say, "Don't cut that tank open. You'll blow us all up."
Really? I've not heard.
Yeah,
that.
but this is the man that's mixed this food for years. But now all of a sudden it becomes explosive.
Yeah, I wasn't aware that we fed pigs hazardous product meat, you know.
That went in
he
the
needed an ADR.
shopping centres, yeah.
Yeah, he needed an ADR license to deliver
molasses. Blowing the lids off the tankers because it's fermenting.
Yeah.
Them lids have got 4 cattle locks on them. When them cattle locks are screwed down, that lid ain't opening. It might gas, like you know when it fizzes up and you can hear it like hissing, but it ain't blowing the lid off.
So the 4 occasions that he said that happened in 8 years, you're saying is?
Oh, was it 3 or 4?
He said well, that's exactly his word. Yeah.
Was it 3 or 4?
Yeah.
Probably down to incompetence.
The only person that I know that's ever happened to was Sam Pep years ago when my dad worked there. I remember Sam going to Wales and he picked a load of ice cream up and he parked with it on an industrial estate one night. He was delivering it direct to farm, and he parked with it overnight, and it was out the lid. It was all down the industrial estate. It was everywhere.
Mm.
We know it does happen, and it can happen. You know.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen. You know,
yeah.
You've got to be pretty unlucky for it to happen 3 or 4 times to you in the space of however long you work there, with a year's gap between.
8 years.
Maybe the lids weren't screwed down correctly.
Or the vent was open. If the vent was open, as it was moving in the tank, it'd slow down the vent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to, I just want to mention about something else. The Robin Neve, who I have a bit of a grievance with, he actually said that he was asked to go into tankers at, chest height.
No,
listen, listen. I don't care how old you are, right?
Yeah.
You could be 10 years old, and somebody say to you, "Get in a tank and it's going to be up to your chest." You're in a tank to go fuck off.
Yeah, impossible.
Any man with any brain is going to turn around and say, "You go in it then," because I ain't going in it.
Any responsible adult, right, would stop someone going in. Any responsible person.
Exactly.
The day he was given the order in the office from, is it Stuart?
Apparently, allegedly, yeah.
Yeah. So Stuart was transport manager, I think. Stuart gave him the order to go and tell Nathan to get in the tank. What he should have done on that point there, he should have turned around and said, that tank's got 6 ton in it. I ain't telling him to go and do it. You go and tell him. The responsibility was passed from Stuart to Richard.
Yeah,
Richard then went and gave the order to him.
Yeah,
So,
And Draycott even says in his interview last week, at the end of the day, it was Stuart Brown that told him to get in the tanker, not Gillian Leivers.
Well, let's get another fact in here, right? You know, another proper fact. And it was not Gillian Leivers that told Nathan to get in the tank, and it was not Stuart Brown. The person that gave that order to that young Nathan Walker was Richard Draycott. So it was you yourself, Richard Draycott, that gave that order. It was not Stuart Brown.
As a professional driver of 25 years, so he claims, he should know better.
It come from Richard Draycott. It come from Richard Draycott. I'm not saying it didn't originally come from Stuart Brown, but it come from Richard Draycott.
Let's put it like this. Lee, you've never done tankers, have you? Lee, you've never done tankers.
I've got the ADR for recovering them, but I've never done anything with operating with them.
Right, so let's put it like, so if you was to go out and deliver a load of pig feed, right?
Yeah.
Would you know how to work that tanker? You've seen the videos. It's fucking common sense, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but
the pump's there, pipe on there, pipe on the tank. You turn it on, you open the lid.
Yeah.
The free flow valve empties the tank onto the floor, or if you're tipping downhill.
Now, when I've listened to Mr. Draycott, in this, I get I had the word incompetence in my head, down to not opening the free flow, and anyway. So now I've managed to glance over the statements, and it appears he is a competent operator because he explains what he would do with a blockage. He explains what a free flow valve is.
And he would turn the pipe round and pump it back in the tank and circulate it.
Of what he would do in the event of a blockage.
Yeah.
So you don't have blockages.
It doesn't.
I never had a blockage.
No,
never.
I had so the vacuum tanker, and Glenn, you'll know this, won't you? So like a vacuum tanker creates pressure. So you reverse the pump, it'll suck it on. You blow it, and it'll put air into the tank, which forces the load out the back.
Yeah.
It's not physically driven by a hydraulic pump on the back. So when I took that tanker out, the first time I ever took it out, I think I tipped the load in like 13 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I built the pressure up and then turned it on. I remember when I used to go with my dad, he had the same thing. You used to build the pressure up first and then let it go.
It's like you said, Stig, as well. 6 ton will come up to your wellies, just above your wellies.
Right, so he explained it.
The free
he was 6 inches from the top of the tank when it was full, right? So half the tank would be half of 28,000 litres.
Yeah.
So where does 6,000 litres come?
Yeah. Your wellies.
Fucking blow your fucking wellies.
It doesn't even run in. It doesn't even run into next. And I'll tell you something about Draycott. And I don't want to add to his problems, but he sent one man in the tank who's died, and then he sends another man in the tank to the same fate.
He claimed no, technically he didn't, though. He basically just said there's a man.
He told him, yeah.
And to use,
well, if he didn't tell him that,
Brad, if you use Glenn's word, there's a man down.
Which he didn't say don't go in that tanker because it's full of gas, though, did he?
No,
correct.
The other thing I want to just talk about, which is what Lee just said, and it's just bloody escaped me because I'm so interested to hear what you had to say. Oh yeah, this is not it actually. I just thought about something else actually. I was thinking about previously, is that you've not just got Richard Draycott there, but you've got Nigel Curtis there, also a driver, and neither.
You've also got Dave Runio floating around somewhere that's loaded tankers on and off for years.
There's plenty of experience amongst the lot.
He knows that when he loads that tanker around the back, he loads it from his pump. He puts that pipe on the free flow pipe. So he knows by opening that valve, it empties it on the floor.
There's tons of experience there that know that dangling a strap into a lid is not going to get a unconscious body out of that tank.
He said that Nathan was what, fucking 6 stone wet through.
8 stone.
Yeah. Well, but he had hold of him and couldn't pull him up.
Yeah. When adrenaline's kicking in.
Yeah. You know, he's already got hold of the lid, the top of the lid apparently. So he's halfway there, isn't he?
So let's talk about that strap, yeah. Phil, give your opinion as well.
If you're in an emergency situation, like I've said before, why is that strap tied to the side of the trailer?
Okay, my question was this: what is the strap going to do? And he just basically said in desperation. What is your view of that?
So he obviously knows he's unconscious because he's in the bottom of the tank. So why is he fucking dangling a strap in? What's it? Shouting him?
I believe the strap's there because it's actually tied. I believe that was there for whoever were going in to retrieve anything or for whatever reason was to grab hold and pull themselves back out with, you know, like a bit of a rope.
I think you'll probably find that one of them was in that tanker before it went round the front of that shed.
Yeah, you're probably right there, you know.
He spent an hour around the back of the yard, not in the view of the camera.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there.
The last time that Nathan was seen was something like 3:53 or something like that.
Nobody saw him get
whatever time it was.
Nobody saw him actually get in. Nobody actually saw Gavin get in.
No
one actually sees Nathan on the CCTV walking from the canteen to the mixing shed door.
Mm. I think Ian's convinced that they both actually got in together. That they knew that they both got in.
Well, there's some fresh evidence been submitted that suggests that as well.
Mm. What drives me crazy about this is the lack of scrutiny and how people are allowed to be discovered to be liars and then they're just allowed to just carry on. So, for example, to say it set like concrete, and we all know they actually hadn't set like concrete, and you can't drown in concrete. But having said it set like concrete, and everybody in the office said it set like concrete.
Yeah.
The only person that said he didn't say it set like concrete was the guy that said it set like concrete.
Yeah, he said that last week, didn't he? I didn't say that. Yeah, he did.
So everybody said it set like concrete, but it obviously hadn't done. And
if it's set like concrete in the bottom, how's he got the rest of the load off?
Exactly
well, Steve
that would be an excuse to not actually open that free flow valve as far as he was concerned. Because what's the point? If it's bloody concrete, there's no point in opening it, is there?
Exactly.
Concrete's not going to run off, is it?
No.
Yeah, but Steve Hunt says if you stand on top of the tank, kinetic energy will dissolve that blockage.
Yeah, it did. It did, yeah.
Oh, don't.
And the other thing is,
the man that only went out like once with a tanker or something like that.
Well, nobody
knows more about it. Like sat there explaining it to everybody on the radio, and you've got the actual tanker driver sat there that never said a fucking word.
Yeah.
If somebody was unpeeling my statement and that, like everybody, like we are his, I'd be there. I'd be wanting to defend myself.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be hiding behind my wife and writing shit messages on Facebook.
Yeah. And if I was a defence barrister, I'd be saying to him, "You said it set like concrete."
Yeah.
And it hadn't. What you got to say about that?
Yeah.
You know, I'd want to know. The other thing is,
the thing is, when you tell a lie,
Dave Maruniak said he was unloading a vehicle out the back, and it was proved on CCTV that no vehicle came in or went out of that site other than the ones we knew about. Yeah. So what was he doing? Did anybody ask him? No, they didn't. He just said, I was out the back unloading an arm. And we'll go, well, he's lying. We know he's lying. But did anybody cross-examine him and say, excuse me, but what was this fictitious vehicle? You know, where were you? What were you doing?
You know, the facts are there. The fact that when Lance pulled the tap and turned the free flow valve on, it emptied itself on the floor.
Correct.
So how's it set like concrete?
but it hadn't, had it?
No,
And they drowned it. They drowned in that concrete.
because we've gone from the tank being blocked to the pump being full. If
Yeah.
you listen to it, the tank was blocked, but then it was the lobes in the pump that were worn.
Yeah.
You know, all week I've been telling them all week. If that trailer isn't fit for purpose to go and deliver a load, Ian's not going to send him down to Dorchester, south of England, to deliver a load and bring half of it back.
No.
Yeah.
No
So
wonder he got sacked for poor performance.
I'm getting to the point now where what I try to do is I try to put myself in people's shoes really and go, what's your motive? You know, why are you doing this? Why are you saying that? I put myself in Nathan's shoes. I'm not quite sure what would make me get into a pitch black tanker that's got 6 ton of pig feed in there that could possibly gas me to death. And somebody ordering me into the arse end of it.
You know,
So I've got to go through a hole in a baffle.
Not just one person that's done that. You've got 2 people that, like, you know, that got more. You know, surely they've got more sense than that.
The other thing I want to do is try and stick up for the guy I didn't really know. From the impression I got on what I've seen, we need to bear in mind, you know, the words of Steve Hunt, and I get a vibe as he was naive. If you take his age into account, it's quite a real sad story. Grown men have seen a young naive lad. He's probably trying to do well and impress.
Yeah,
And
impress, yeah.
you get what I'm trying to say? At the age of 19, and then
Steve tried to help him to make his life easier.
He had the nickname 25 pence Nathan. No matter what Draycott said, I was told he gets 25p. Like, don't be stupid. Come on. We're grown men here. We're having an adult conversation.
No one wants 25 pence an hour more to go in a tanker.
Yes, 25p.
And Lee, you've just reminded me about what I was going to say. Actually, he was actually called allegedly 20 pence, Nathan. But also, this was my question. Actually, you just prompted me. Is as a CPC driver, yeah. What point do you discharge yourself from having responsibility from a trailer or truck or whatever?
When you eject that card out, that taco head.
Yeah, when that card comes out of the taco.
Right.
So, do we have any knowledge about whether that happened, Phil?
Well,
no, he was still on duty.
They weren't interrogated. None of the tacos were interrogated. The same as none of the phones were interrogated.
Ironic.
Other than Nikki Johnson's, her phone was interrogated, but hers was the only one. And why, I don't know, because she was starting the bloody office, wasn't she? I mean,
right.
Crazy.
But one would assume, irrespective if he removed his taco,
when the police, I
remember there was a mention on one of the episodes talked about the DVSA, didn't they, Phil?
That's right. Yeah.
I think it may be in Glenn actually. Who mentioned about DVSA? I've never heard of it before. But one would assume that you know, going back to what was previously said, is that you know, I mentioned in my brief chat about this because I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Well, I could believe it, what they were saying, as in this is their beliefs. Is how they would allow a young man to go into a tanker and then themselves say they would not be willing to go into a tanker themselves, right? In addition to that, the reason why they said they would not go into a tanker is because they had relief because of their age, but yet they're allowing some young man who had his whole life ahead of him to go into a tanker.
Let me stop you there, right? Nathan and Jack are the same age. So why did Nathan go in but Jack didn't?
Good question. I don't know.
Jack's half the size of Gab.
Yeah. I really don't know. But here's a $6 million question. If and it is to all of you basically. If you were stood on the outside of that tanker by the hole that's been cut in the middle, Would you be able to reach into the rear to feel somebody's hair?
No.
Can you remember years ago when you was a kid? There was a doll that used to be called Stretch Armstrong.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You would have to be Stretch Armstrong.
But that's what they
You know,
said.
You've got Steve saying that he went through the hole in the bottom of the tanker. I'm right, aren't I? I'm right. That's
You
what he said.
won't get a Jack Russell through that hole.
No.
You know, you could just about put your boot through it.
Yeah.
The only way you're going through
lucky.
that hole is if you cut you up and then post you through.
Yeah. But apparently somebody reached into the feed and felt somebody's hair.
Because
And
he
the
was
guy
already
was in
in
the
there
rear
from round the
compartment.
back of the tank. Round the back of the yard. He was already in there.
Yeah. I say,
Dave,
whoever it was must have known he was in the back.
I'll tell you, going back to the DVSA point that Brad brought up, a few years back, I was delivering aviation fuel, and I was delivering it to Grangemouth, so I was maxing my hours. By Friday, I was out of hours. So Friday, I'd get to Leeds from Grangemouth, and I'd have to do a 45. And on a Friday, you don't want to do a 45. You want to get back. But I'd have to do a 45. And it was always on a Friday, every 6 weeks. I'd get back to the yard, and then the fella that I worked for would then jump in my cab and take it for its 6 weeks inspection.
Can I just hold you there? We've got to go to a break, so hang on to your thought because we're going to come back to you. Can somebody give me another song, please?
It'd be me the morning. Stig, yeah, because you want the last one.
Yeah, go on, then.
So, God's Gonna Cut You Down by Johnny Cash.
Exactly that.
What a classic.
Yeah.
All right, we'll play that now.
Well, you know, Johnny always wore black, and he wore black because he identified with the poor and the downtrodden.
You can run on for a long time, run on for a long time, run on for a long time. Sooner or later gotta cut you down, sooner or later gotta cut you down. Go tell that long-tongued liar, go and tell that midnight rider, tell the rambler, the gambler, the backbiter, tell him that God's gonna cut him down, tell him that God's gonna cut him down. Well, my goodness gracious, let me tell you the news. My head's been wet with the midnight dew. I've been down on bended knee, talking to the man from Galilee. He spoke to me with a voice so sweet, I thought I heard the shuffle of angels sweet. He called my name and my heart stood still when he said, John, go do my will. Go tell that long-tongued liar, go and tell that midnight rider, tell the rambler, the gambler, the backbiter, tell him that God's gonna cut him down, tell him that God's gonna cut him down. You can run on for a long time, run on for a long time, run on for a long time. Sooner or later gotta cut you down, sooner or later gotta cut you down. Well, you may throw your rock, hide your hand, working in the dark against your fellow man. But as sure as God made black and white, what's done in the dark will be brought to the light. You can run on for a long time, run on for a long time, run on for a long time. Sooner or later gotta cut you down, sooner or later gotta cut you down. Go tell that long-tongued liar, go and tell that midnight rider, tell the rambler, the gambler, the backbiter, tell him that God's gonna cut you down, tell him that God's gonna cut you down, tell him that God's gonna cut you down.
Catcher, Dreamcatcher Radio is about capturing and creating dreams through music, chat, and debate. Empowering expression, enriching society. A go-to place for unsigned musical talent. A radio station which listens to its audience. Free speech, vibrant, engaging. Stream worldwide 24/7. Events, competitions, promotions. Always keen to have a listening ear. Contact us. hello@dreamcatcherradio.com.
Dreamcatcher Radio.
Okay, so that was God cutting us all down. And especially me, because I interrupted Glenn in the middle of telling us a story about aviation fuel. So off you go then, Glenn.
Yeah, so what happened is I'd go to like from Liverpool to Grangemouth Monday to Friday. By Friday, I'd be out in hours. So I didn't have enough hours to get back to Sheffield without having a 45 on a Friday evening. So I'd do that and I'd get back to the yard, and then the fellow that we work for, every 6 weeks would jump in our unit, take it down for a 6-weekly check, but he would not put a tacho card in. So what it looked like on paper is that I ran out of time, pulled my card, and then drove for 20 minutes then to get back to Sheffield, because he drove 20 minutes from the yard to the garage to get it serviced. Anyway, the DVSA pulled us up on this, seen it, wanted to prosecute me because it looked like I broke the law for 20 minutes.
Yeah, because basically what it looks like, you took your card out, and then 2 minutes later, he's jumped in and gone.
Yeah.
So it looks like you pulled up at the side
you.
of the road somewhere, took your card out, and carried on.
Yeah. So in the end, they offered me a deal where I paid 2,000 quid.
Good God.
2,000 quid. I lost my license for a month.
No? Really?
So I did. Yeah. So you accept this deal, £2,000 fine. You don't drive for a month, so I lose me life for a month. And then you can just carry on and track on afterwards. Now, Draycott's killed 2 people. Well, he's not killed 2 people, but 2 people have died under his...
In his supervision, yeah.
Supervision.
Yeah.
And nothing's been investigated. Nothing at all.
Another thing as well, Glenn. They all back, like, Richard and Steve were banging on the other day that Mike was a manager. If Mike's a manager, Mike's got a duty of care as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Everybody's got a duty of care at work. Yeah, you go on a building site, right? What's it say on that sign? Everybody is responsible for going
yourself
home safe.
And everyone else around you. Yeah, that's
right. So if you see something that's a trip hazard or whatever, report it as little as it may be.
There's what's called a fiduciary duty.
What?
Fiduciary duty, it's called.
I'm a lorry driver. I don't understand that shit.
Well, basically, it's exactly what you
does.
said. Is that everybody's responsible for one another.
It actually said that in the handbook.
Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the handbook that they can't remember getting.
Yeah, that's convenient that. But that's no gloves, yeah.
Yeah. That's the very one. The one that's had to go into second print. Yeah.
Granted, I probably never read the handbook, but yeah.
And then they both sat there as bold as brass and said, "Well, we don't think that Gillian should be in prison." Yeah, in actual fact, it was the whole of them conspiring to make her look like she was
neither of them went, like, Richard never stood in court and defended her, though, did he?
Well, this is what I want to say. So there was bold raised voices and from Mr. Draycott. There was no interruption in his speech when he's saying this. Why didn't Gillian Leivers stand up and give evidence for his wife? Why didn't you stand up, Mr. Draycott, and say it wasn't Gillian Leivers that gave the instruction? Why didn't you stand up? That's my question.
Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well done.
Now,
Why have you got people looking at a TV screen with a clear picture on it? And
if you had a
we've all seen the video.
Listen, if you had a legal team, right, that's being paid to defend you, and they've drilled it into you that if you stand up and speak, your wife is going to prison. Now, Ian has said that is what he said. Now, we've all seen the kind of man he is. He stands up and he, as you say, he ain't the type to sit there and not say nothing. He sat there not said nothing for a reason, because he's been advised to do that. And as this case continues to go on, he will produce the evidence backing up that he wanted to speak.
Yeah,
So just wait out for that.
I actually do believe Ian, where he said he refused to go into court when he was in the canteen. I actually believe him.
That must have been a dreadful feeling, that, though, when you know you're being set up. Even to the fact where the last person to give evidence was Iqbal, and they said we're going to rip her a new one, and they'd never even cross-examined her.
No.
Yes.
They didn't really cross-examine anybody, though, did they, really?
Well, no, they didn't. Basically, this is extraordinary. This is extraordinary. Like, as I said to Ian, because Ian was upset about, initially, about the Richard Draycott and Steve Hunt. Less so about Steve Hunt, because he sees him as a relevant person. But Richard Draycott, and I said, we've got to hear what they have to say. And I said, even if they lie, it doesn't matter. At least you can hear their account, and then you can cross-examine it against other what he said in previous records. I do believe genuinely that Gillian got stitched up completely.
Massively, yeah.
I do believe it. And, these people are part and parcel to the stitch up.
It's like I was saying to Ian the other day, though, it's all sort of falling apart for them all now, isn't it? Because they can't remember what they've said.
Yeah. I think it's moreover the fact
but
that...
they can't, because like he's standing there now and saying something completely different to what his statement reads.
Well, it's similar in and around Stig, to be fair. Like, it's in and around them that way. Do you know what I mean? But you can tell he's having to work hard when he's asked about it. Like I say about the break in the speech and things like that. That's happened with other events. Especially the brand new tanker that was given to him, and I take this out. So obviously, as we know, the business continued the very next day. Several months down the line or whatever, Mr. Draycott's come back. He's worked for Ian. This terrible employees. Just seen two people die. He's come back, been given a new tanker. Now, what we need to do is we need to still create problems regarding that product. And what better to create these problems with than a brand new tanker, a state-of-the-art tanker? So Mr. Draycott, fluently explains how he's finding gravel in his pump.
Yeah.
The gravel hasn't sucked itself in there, has it? No. In the new tanker.
But it's scraped up off the floor of the shed. If it was scraped up off the floor of the shed, there'd be no fucking floor in the shed.
Yeah,
actually, and then the next thing I just want to say to that is, so just to carry on with that bit with the gravel too, we then hear from Mr. Hunt, the scientist, about Remenko and this chemical and that chemical, and then Mr. Draycott's come to the conclusion less than 10 seconds after saying about the gravel that the Remenko has then acted as a grinding paste and worn the lobes out on the pump. I mean, come on, you just said 2 seconds ago there's been gravel running round your brand new tanker, mate.
But did you notice that Richard Draycott, or one of them, said, it was Richard, said that one of the farmers replaced the lobes. I don't think I
That's
don't think you
bullshit.
could do
That is bullshit.
I don't think you could do that, could you?
You could do it. You could do it. But
No, what I mean is
what
you must
farmer is
need
going to have a
specialist
boiler pump
equipment.
lobes on his farm?
But what I'm saying is you're going to need a specialist equipment, aren't you?
Well, no, not really. No, you sort of like, I think it's 30 mil spanner, and then
I think they're
couple
quite
circuits and pull them
accessible.
outside of the pump. But you know,
I think quite accessible. I personally do believe that the lobes was ground away because they're going to be with gravel running round them. You know, I do believe something did happen, but I just find it convenient it was Mr. Curtis that took that said load.
Yeah.
Mm.
How was gravel running around? How was gravel running around the pumps?
Exactly.
Was it loading the tank with a Manitou? Or was it loading the tank? Do you know what I mean? How was gravel?
It went into the mixer first and then went into the tanker.
So that gravel must have been smaller than 10 mil, mustn't it, or 30 mil?
That's bait.
Well, apparently there were a bucket full of it sitting outside the office, and you know, Stuart Brown worked there at the time, and
if you're concreting a floor, it's 10, 20 mil gravel in your ballast.
I'm sure there's a filter system in that mixing tank. Anyway, I thought there'd be some filtration, definitely. But then it's been placed in there. We need to create a problem with its scenarios with the product.
If it's fucked his pump on his lorry, right? How's it not fucked the pump that they load it with?
Exactly.
It's the same pump.
And I was kinetic energy. Resolve this blockage.
There's answers for everything.
Hold on a minute, because I don't know whether it was delivering pig feed or whether it was delivering scrap. You know, we've got a man that's going out fetching skips in with exhaust and bottles of fucking whiskey in them. Yeah. Them skips went into fucking food factories.
There's answers for everything.
They went into food factories inside buildings. They were solar panel sheets on them.
Well, I love the pyramids, you see. I love the pyramids in Egypt and how they built them. And like they're saying levitation and what have you. But I've never known that standing on a tank would create kinetic energy.
Get some bath salts and put it in the bath.
Yeah, you know what I mean? What a joke. What an absolute joke.
An absurd statement, nearly as absurd as getting that tanker with feed in it and unblock it. It's as absurd.
Yeah. It's like I said about this exhaust and this bottle that's been found. He's found. If you'd found that in a skip that you tipped up, what would be the first thing you do? You'd take a picture of it, wouldn't you? Yeah. Look what I've just found in the skip. You send it to the office. Look what I've just found in the skip. Where's his photos of that?
No, you're talking about all the evidence that went missing. All the body cam that went missing, all the photographs that went missing. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, they even found a seagull in the tank once, didn't they? A dead seagull.
In the tank.
Oh. Yeah. Wonder how he got in there.
Probably fell in. He probably dropped in from the top.
Probably abseiled one of them straps.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for laughing, but it is quite funny what you guys are saying.
Abseiling seagull, that's funny, that.
Yeah.
As a driver, like same with Lee and Glenn, it don't happen.
It don't. You're right.
That's like driving down the road, isn't it, with your window open and a pigeon flying through the window and smacking you in the face. It don't happen, does it?
No.
Once in a blue moon.
So
seagulls fly in a flock, do they not? There's not just one seagull, is there? There's always a flock of them.
Can I ask a question, right?
Yep.
Is if you were working in an unsafe environment, would you work there?
No.
Did you say unsafe? Did you say?
Unsafe, yeah, unsafe.
Definitely not. And I definitely, after leaving there, I definitely wouldn't go back either. I definitely then wouldn't you know, I have my family, my son, my grandson, or generations like working there.
You know yourself, Lee. Right, we've been in some sketchy situations with jobs, haven't we?
Massively sketchy,
right?
yeah.
So you don't just go and jump in it. You don't just go and jump in it, do we? We stand there, we make a plan together.
Yeah, and we're looking out for each other all the way
Exactly.
through. We're carrying out, and I believe all humans do this. We're constantly carrying out what you call a dynamic risk assessment.
Exactly.
There's been no dynamic risk
How
assessment.
did you know that? How did you know that? Have you been reading books?
As an HGV driver,
This ain't the Lee I know.
as an HGV driver, our license is our living.
Yeah.
And there's cameras, there's everything. Whatever you go in a lane, there's a camera taking a picture of you. As an HGV driver, you're protecting your livelihood all the time.
Yeah.
So you're watching out for hazards. So sending a young lad into a tank that you're responsible for is not a very good idea.
Let me just say another thing as well.
Lad,
yeah. Let me just stop you there. Do you know what? Right. So let's go back. So when Richard speaks about going to the office, right? Dave was already in there.
Yeah.
Right. It's almost as if he's been around the back of the mixing shed. Nathan's gone in. They've realised they've fucked up. So then they've gone, right, well, you go to the office and go and stand in the office and yabber a load of bullshit. I'll take the lorry around the front and back it in the shed. Wait a few minutes, and I'll come up and I'll run up and make a panic.
But this explains
why was Dave in the office when they got their orders through a phone allegedly from Gillian, right? With no phone signal.
It's a good point, actually. That I don't mean about the phone. I mean about the fact that he could have already been in there, and I think
he's been around the back of the yard for an hour. You know.
Yeah.
Nobody's seen Nathan since R3, whatever it was. You don't see Nathan walking from the canteen, and you don't see Richard Draycott walking from his lorry to the canteen to go and get Nathan.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Yeah.
Unless he's got a fucking invisible coat that he wears.
How does he get in a rear compartment, though? That's the thing.
Nathan's small, though, isn't he?
So it's only through that middle hole, anyway. That's for sure. It's only through the middle hole.
I mean, he don't shimmy along the top of the tanker to a hole that doesn't exist.
No. So presumably, he must have gone in the middle compartment, actually got into the rear to do whatever he needed to do, and never got out.
Yeah, bless him.
And then they've then covered it up by fucking going around the yard, backing it in the shed.
But I think
it's sat in the lorry. It's sat in the lorry because you don't see him get. You don't see on that CCTV. You don't see him get out the lorry. And,
we don't know what's happened. This is the thing that's missing. Like, there's only a few that do know what happened.
The only person that does know that what happened that day is Dave and Richard.
Yeah.
Why was Dave in the office?
What about Nigel Curtis?
It doesn't make any sense because they get their orders through Gillian to Mike's phone or Robin Nee's phone.
Would Nigel Curtis not know as well?
20 minutes before the incident, approximately, there's a group of men huddled together discussing something. We don't know what was being discussed. However, 20 minutes later, approximately, something's gone horribly wrong. Gavin,
it had already gone wrong an hour before.
It could have done. It could have done. It could have done, yeah.
I wonder if Gavin was just a pure accident. You know, even the other two didn't expect Gavin to get in there after him.
He's backed that lorry in that shed, right? He's never got out of the lorry.
But do you believe
you don't see him walk up to the right? So where that camera is, that video shows, the canteen is under that camera. So he would have to walk up the yard to the canteen, which he says he did to go and tell Nathan to go and get in the tanker and clean it out.
Do we believe that stuff was toxic enough to, if we do jump in it, that it would kill you? You know more about this?
Yeah, but I'm not being funny. If he's dropped in from the top, if he's dropped in off that lid, it's grease. It's like fucking grease.
I bet it is. Yeah.
If he's fucking slipped and banged his head and knocked himself out.
No, but I'm on about. Oh, you're on about Gavin, yeah? You're on about Gavin.
Yeah, or Gavin or Nathan. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
If
yeah.
he fell over in the back and banged his head or something, it's dark in there, isn't it?
There is allegedly an head injury on Gavin.
Yeah, there is.
There is, yeah.
Yeah, but they never told the jury that.
Didn't they?
No.
Oh, I didn't know they didn't. I thought they did tell the jury, but no one asked any questions about it. But yeah, you'd know more than me, Phil.
Gavin also had cannabis and cocaine in his system as well.
That's right. That was mentioned because they didn't want to blacken his name. That's my account of it. They didn't want to blacken his character. That's it.
I don't want to do that either. But
No, I don't. No.
You've got to state facts, haven't you? Really, he did have cannabis and cocaine in his system, and
Yeah.
what a lot of young people have in the system anyway, don't they? It's not.
But it goes hand in hand with being young, with different where you've been raised. You know, it does happen, and you know he might have been all right, and them things are just showing from the night before. You know.
Well, this brings me to where I think changes need to be made in respect of these cases. Is that, you know, they should really present all of the evidence to the court and let the court decide. To actually
they presented exactly what they wanted to present to make
exactly
it look.
That.
And had no defence. It didn't even call. Like, you know, Jake didn't even get to go in there. He was on scene, like attempting the rescue mission.
Lance didn't give evidence.
No, didn't he? No.
we haven't got a lot more time, right? But I want to try and talk about some interesting sort of points that have been brought to our attention. Have you ever heard of being fined by your employer before?
No.
I have when I've worked subcontracting, but it's not what you call a fine. It's called you know, a damage bill. You know, but you are a subcontractor, not an employee. So
that could be a withholding notice or something like that. But as an employee,
you know,
I've never heard
they're billing people. You know, but then like Ian's gone to fucking Richard and gave him £500 to see him through Christmas.
Also,
because he's the world's worst boss in the world. Do you know what I mean?
Forget the fish and chips like on a Friday for the yard people, and also Christmas. You know, I'd heard Christmas bonuses as well. Now, you know, that doesn't strike me as some greedy, selfish employers. Sorry. It just doesn't. And then also, you know, we're getting all this, it was all about money, this, that, and the other. I mean, the man were running V8 Scanias on full R&M maintenance contracts. Now, that isn't cheap.
No, it's not. And also, we did a Christmas episode from Gillian's customers and staff. And Steve Hunt basically refuted in his interview that he had with us that she was still working there, but her staff and the customers could not speak any more highly of her.
I made a good valid point with Ian the other day, right? So Ian's mechanically minded, yeah. He's got a lot of thought. Gillian is a hairdresser, right? I remember going to tip a trailer one morning of pizza bases in a bulker on a farm in Lincoln. Freezing cold morning, picked the trailer up at Wiz Beach, ran it down there, went to tip it, rammed it all the way to the top ramp. Not one crumb fell out the back, right? It blew the pipe, the hydraulic connection apart on the front. So the trailer stayed right up. So then, like, I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do? What do I do? So I rang the office and Gillian picked the phone up. And she's like, you all right? I said, no, I've got a bit of a problem. So I told her, I explained the situation. And she said, well, when you know what you want to do, let me know. Because, you know, she has no idea how things work. She said, well, can't you just push it back on? Yeah, you've got 20 ton of pizza bases pushing that ramp down. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like, she's not mechanically minded like that. So she wouldn't know how to unblock a fucking tanker. You know, she ain't going to tell you to go in there with a fucking broom and stick it up the fucking pipe, is she?
This is the thing with business, right? For a business to work correctly, in the ideal world, you'd have people that are in the office giving off instructions, so have actually been out there and done that job themselves. But that don't happen. So, as a professional driving yourself or professional in whatever you're doing, you will get an instruction or a suggestion from, let's say, somebody like Gillian or a transport officer, something like that. And you being that responsible person are there to go, well, no, we can't do it. Like you've just said, Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the point I can't get of how Mr. Draycott, is able to just live his life as if he's not, he's not done nothing wrong, and the poor woman's banged up for 13 years. Ian's lost his business. I just can't get my head around it. Yeah. There's loads of times I'll speak to someone at work and they'll go, "Oh, cool, can't you do this?" I'll go, "Well, no, I can't do it because of X, Y, Z," and they know that I'm saying that for a reason, like and that's the end of it. If they ain't happy what you're saying, they'll go higher up management.
At the end of the day, you're the operator.
Yeah, that's right. It's you that's in charge, and it's you that's responsible for it. Yeah. End of. The book stops with you.
Yeah,
it's like I did a job when I was on recovery. I was first on scene with the union trader in the ditch. Steve Kelly turned up. He's the incident manager. He is the top of the top.
Yeah.
And everyone's running to him and asking him what do you want to do? What do you want me to do? And he's like, "Well, go and ask Stig because he was first on scene, so it's his job. It's his responsibility." He said, "I'm just a crane operator."
Yeah, I mean, one thing I did notice the interview with Richard Draycott, and I'm pretty confident I'm right on this. I don't think you could just abandon the fact that you actually instructed a 18-year-old young man to go into a tanker, even though he was instructed himself by the transport manager, and I don't see how you can just wash your hands of that situation.
That's exactly my issue. Yeah.
I don't know how he sleeps. I don't know how he sleeps at night. I said that on Facebook the other day. I don't know how he sleeps at night.
Not even a defense.
His wife's there defending him, and rightly so. That she would. That's what they do. But it's like everyone's saying, "Oh, Gillian used to say this. Gillian used to say that." Right? Everybody knows a woman will always voice her opinion, regardless whether she's involved or not.
Yeah.
Stood in that office. If she's stood in that office and somebody goes in there with a problem, even if she's cutting some fucker's hair, she's still going to turn around and say, "Well, she's going to voice her opinion."
I think it based on my experience with my wife working in my businesses in the past, is that she was there to help out. She really didn't know the ins and outs of the business. But
it's a family business at the end of the day, Brad. That's how it works.
Yeah, exactly. You just help out. I think Steve Hunt said she was a bit of a pit bull. But then you listen to Steve Hunt saying he doesn't take shit from anybody. Yeah. And funny enough, Ian made a very important point which he picked up on, and I could tell it was very sensitive to him. Where Steve Hunt mentioned he believes Gillian was humbled, and obviously I have to.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. What he said.
I have to carry on because I want to get more questions. And you could tell Ian was upset by that, and and rightly so as well.
But it's like it's like with Robin, Steve. It's like they've all got a big thing to stick it all on her.
Yeah.
The thing being is that
not being funny. Where was Steve's statement when this was all in Crown Court?
He didn't work there, did he?
No, he didn't.
Regardless of whether he worked there or not.
Oh because the others.
Why didn't he go to fucking court? Yeah. Because he wanted nothing to do with it, but he now feels that he needs to get involved.
Well, what about Robin Neve? Robin Neve didn't even want anybody around his house, did he? Robin Neve didn't want anybody to come to his house, but he was prepared to get off his house and go into court and try and nail her.
Exactly. Yeah.
Ridiculous. And that's the thing for the Crown Prosecution Service to actually find her guilty of gross corporate manslaughter, they had to prove that she was in charge on the day. They had to prove that she was in charge on the day, that she was more than just the boss's wife, more than just in charge of accounts. They had to prove that she was in charge. And the way they did it was to get everybody that was in the yard to go, yep, she made all the decisions. She was the one we all went to. Yeah, not a problem. You know, she was the one in charge.
Did you say 7 or 8 months later, Phil? Yeah. Did you say when all that started?
Yeah. Absolutely.
But
or as we call it, an epiphany. Oh yeah, it was her that said that. Yeah. And the other thing, they even went to the point of saying to somebody, I think it was Draycott actually. So Stuart Brown told you to tell 20p Nathan to get in the tank. Yes, he did. Yeah. Was that in the presence of Gillian Leivers? Yes, it was. Yeah, in the presence of Gillian Leivers, and she didn't say anything. No, she didn't. So I mean. The poor woman wasn't really involved in that. I mean, how did he know whether she heard it or not? She might have been looking out the window counting seagulls. She might have been talking to somebody else. You know, how do you prove that somebody's heard what you said? If you listen to my wife, she thinks I don't hear what she says half the time. But, you know, I mean...
Like Lee was saying earlier on, 20 minutes before this all kicked off, this was after the lorries backed in the shed, or wherever it was, 20 minutes before, they're all huddled together in the yard.
Yeah.
Why are they all stood together in the yard?
No idea, mate.
We're
idea.
We're probably never going to know.
I don't think you ever will, to be fair, because you know they're all just a bunch of fucking liars, and the only way you're going to get truth is to get them all in the fucking room, like you say, Brad, and have it out.
Yeah, I mean, if we can't even get a simple thing like this photo resolved, what hope have we got? To try and get to the bottom.
But like with this photo, right? It's like I said, he's bringing exhaust back to the yard in food skips, empty bottles of whiskey, glass in food skips that's going to pigs. You know, yes, pigs will eat anything. But,
What he said is that we witnessed it and we spot it and take it out. He's not saying he's put it into.
He also said about rubbish going, like packaging going in the mix, and he said about Dina Foods skip, which is a bread skip from London. I remember doing that bread skip. He used to do it at night. He used to take that skip, pick it up in London, take it to Mick Thompson's on the A46, tip it in his shed. He would then process it the next day, which would take all the wrappers off it, grind it all down, and it'd be put in another skip, and then you go and pick it up the next night and tip it in the shed. There was no packaging in it.
Okay, I've got a question, actually. I just thought about this, actually. I didn't ask it last time when you were on.
Yeah.
Having worked for Ian and the fact that his method and systems changed over the years, have you ever been into a tanker yourself at Greenfield?
Only that one tanker, the vacuum tanker, when we put it on the road because it was full of silt.
Right, okay. That's the only time?
That's the only time.
Yeah. And did Ian always preach to you that you should never go into a tanker?
It was just common knowledge. You know, you didn't need to tell nobody because the tanks never needed cleaning out because they always had the same product in. You know, and if you went to Coca-Cola or whatever, everybody knows what Coca-Cola does. It cleans.
Yeah, that's an odd product. That is Coca-Cola, isn't it?
You know, we used to fetch Britvic juices from Leeds. You know, brewery, anything. You know, it cleans itself.
Can I say what you know in the speech with Kirsty Iqbal? So and a lot of things I see online, people are talking about cleaning a tanker. There's a difference between cleaning a tanker and dealing with a blockage. Now, Kirsty Iqbal says the processes of Greenfeeds Limited, something along the lines of the processes they had. You know,
an accident waiting to happen.
Death was more or less going to be imminent. It was somewhat strong, and
it was that imminent. It was going to happen. That Mike and David worked there for years.
Yeah,
you know, and they're still alive.
I want to separate cleaning from dealing with blockage. That's what I'd like people
It's
to...
two totally different things. But like Richard was saying on his thing, he could deal with a blockage because he used to put the pipe from the pump back onto the free flow and open it and circulate it.
Competently read that in his statement, yeah.
And that would clear it.
As I said in one of the previous episodes, Greenfeeds would need disposable employees if you listen to what Kirsty said. You'd need a conveyor belt with them. Anyway, we've got 2.5 minutes left, Phil. I don't know if you've got any final questions. Also, if you want to, guys, if you look, the floor is yours. We've got 2.5 minutes, and that's the end of this episode.
I think we've pretty much covered everything that I want to cover. You know.
Well, the narrative was with regards to make it plain that Gillian was in charge. The police added to that narrative by saying it was an accident waiting to happen. There was no health and safety, and yet we know for a fact that they removed all the files. And I've still yet to go.
That's what I was going to say as well about like interviews and things like that. It was never Gillian that gave me an interview. It was Ian. In fact, it wasn't even an interview. It was more of a cup of tea, and
Ian cleared that up.
See you later.
Ian cleared that up. He said it was him that interviewed Mr. Hunt. To me, anyway.
Yeah. But the press were all against it. When the press had got them banged to rights, they were delivering biogas, which is ridiculous because we all know that you can't deliver gas.
In an American tank with about 12 axles on it.
Yeah. So everything was. I mean, if you look at the whole case, it was just rubbish. The whole case was rubbish.
One thing that Steve Hunt did get right is that the skip trailer, after a month or so, was. Ian did go back and say it wasn't fit for purpose. That's about the one thing that he did get right. Because the way the back end was shaped, when you used to tip the skips, it used to tip the load on the back end of the trailer and cover the lights. And we used to go through lights they used to smash the lights off all the time.
Yeah. I think the only way we're going to get anything like this truth is a retrial.
Yeah.
I'd love to see a retrial.
But the trouble is, Phil, half these people, like with Steve and that, they ain't going to turn up.
Well, it's called a subpoena.
All he wants to do is come on and just give his 50 pence worth of how bad the place was and how bad Gillian was, and she's like a pit bull. No, she wasn't at all.
But in all honesty, right, Andy, it's helpful because it explains how things went wrong.
Yeah.
I found it really, really helpful. But we have to go, and I'd like to thank you all for your time. I know, Lee, you took time off work today as well.
You've been great, guys. Great.
Andy's in a dodgy place, and Glenn, I don't know what part of the world he's in at the moment, but I'm sure he's somewhere. Meaningful. And someone who wanted to do the final song, I can't remember who it was.
It was me.
All right. Okay, cool. What is it?
I want you to play this song for Richard and Steve. Jerry Cinnamon, Canter. But the uncut version.
Okay. We're going to play that now.
This is the beginning of the rest of your life. You better stop moving like you're running out of time. The realization coming over your mind that it should be a canter. If you could just find the answer, you know it could be a canter. If you're just a wee bit less of a wanker, more than half of the time. This is the beginning of the rest of your life. You better start grafting, 'cause you're running out of time. The roof is on fire and it's raining outside. but it should be a canter. If you could just find the answer, you know it could be a canter. If you're just a wee bit less of a wanker, more than half of the time. Because the hardest part of the game isn't even playing the game, it's caring enough to care about the things that you're doing. Oh, and so we cry and shame.